now, and the scenes at full time were pretty awesome. From your perspective, sweeter as a manager or sweeter as a player? Because you've done both for Manchester United now.
It's just different. It's just different. I think it's certainly not a feeling you ever get sick of or you've ever had enough of. I think all that kind of everything you put into a game, whether you're a player or coach or managing, whatever it is, I think, and as a supporter, all the energy and the excitement, the passion and everything that the will to win goes into the game. When you come out the other side in such an important one, and listen, late winners have always created the biggest emotion really. And to get it in such a game was a great feeling, and you keep a lid on it to a point and it can last for so long, but certainly in the moment and the supporters, the way they were and the way they've supported us, it was nice to have that few minutes with them.
That away end, I mean, your son was there, wasn't he? I saw the sound.
And my daughter.
Dad in there, your daughter was in there. There must have been bouncing from their perspective.
Yeah, for me, that's one of the biggest feelings of helping play a part in everyone getting that emotion. That supporters come, pay a lot of money, travel and support us everywhere. That's what they want. So to be able to give them that, that's probably the biggest thing that's came back to me even during the week when you see people and for that emotion, that excitement. Listen, it's not going to be like that every week, and we understand that. But it's kind of our duty to try and produce that, and the boys were incredible and fully deserve all the credit they get.
Yeah, well, now we look at your first sort of 5 games in charge of this club. Some of the managers you've come up against, Emery twice, Tuchel, Guardiola. I mean, what is the secret here? Because other managers must be watching at home going, God, some of the scalps.
Yeah, good players, I think. It is well. It's funny how things work out, and certainly not getting too carried away with all that. I think I just take it really as where we are now in this last 2 weeks in the 2 games and trying to start, obviously give us a start and something to build on and a foundation, and what games are coming up are more important to me than what's gone. And we're in a good place. The boys are there. They're really desperate to do well. They're a really, really tight group. If anything, at the moment, you're holding them back a little bit, and they're so desperate for the next game. So it's a great place to be at the moment. We just got to keep that feeling and bottle it as best as we can going into the next game.
Next game, then, we should talk about Fulham. Just sat in your press conference there. There was lots of questions about how you might play. In your build-up to these kind of games, obviously, it's not a Man City or an Arsenal in terms of club stature, but do you take Fulham at the exact same level as you would?
100%, yeah. And I think anything else is first of all out of respect anyway. But in terms of us for going into the game, it's criminal for us to think anything else. And then when you watch anyway, you see the level that they're playing at. It's they're a very, very good team, and in so many ways, and coached so well, and so we totally understand that. The boys understand that and are fully prepared for that. And it's not about who we play against so much. It's about how can we be at our best, with the emotion, with the level of concentration, the obviously tactical awareness, all the different levels, everything you've got to bring to get the feelings that we've had. You've got to keep bringing that week in, week out, and in the end, consistency is what tells the story of your level of success. So that's our biggest challenge of us being at that level often enough to give ourselves a chance of winning.
I think it's quite interesting in a game like Fulham, because I've sat in the press conference just there and I've been watching lots of media this week and people talking about Man United dominating the ball and not playing on the counter like they have in the past. Do you see that the same way, or do you see, each game is separate? Like Fulham might have a bit of the ball and we might have to come out against them.
I'm sure Fulham will, I think. Yeah. It's the way they play, and again, is accept and understand what the game's going to be, respect and have fully respect for that. I'm certainly not going into the game thinking all of a sudden we've done that and this game's going to be different and we'll go and enjoy it and let's play with the ball and score loads of goals. And that's just totally couldn't be any further away from it, with the total opposite, if anything. And the things that have enabled us to get the results is working together, defending well as a team. We've got good players and we can play good football at times, and we did second half against Arsenal. We came out, we controlled it, we end up scoring, and so we got to get the balance. And again, I can't say it is strong enough. It doesn't matter who we're playing, it's about what we do, We've got to keep repeating them, and if not, improving on the levels of performance every week.
I was listening to Rio's podcast this week, and he was talking about sitting next to you in the dressing room and your sort of communication style, being a leader on the pitch. What's your communication style in the dressing room like as a coach now?
I just think it's whatever the boys need, really. However that is. Is it firing them up? Is it calming them down? Is it giving them information? And it's got to evolve. It's got to change. And sometimes you get a feeling for that, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of understanding what they're going through and mentally and coping with the situation. So it changes a lot. I think the boys are feeling that I'm with them, the coaches are with them, we're all in it together. That there's that unity. I feel that really strongly already. That's important to me, I think. And then it's just feeling the moment, you know. And the boys, to be honest, have been in such a good place that you're just tweaking things here and there. They're so desperate to do well, which all you can ask is to give the best, you know. And they're really invested in it, and they're keen and they're hungry, and hence the results and the performances we've got. It's what we've got to keep moving forward.
This feels like there's some real leaders in that dressing room as well now. We're actually sitting here today on the 6-year anniversary of Bruno's signing, so we should touch upon him and his impact on this club as a whole. Where does he sort of rank for you amongst some of United's best midfielders? Because his output is just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get involved in terms of where he's, you know, to others, but I think he's such an important part of this team, and he has been for 6 years now. And I was here when he came to the club, and seeing the impact he had, his attitude, his mentality, his willingness to kind of sacrifice and put himself out there every single time. The amount of games he's played, training, he doesn't miss an awful lot. Touch wood. But yeah, he's proved that for so long, and then his quality, his moments. You know, he's a fantastic footballer. You know, we're looking forward to building on what we just kind of started with the team, and he's a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should talk about some of the other players in that have been such big parts of that team anyway. Brian and Boomer, for instance, the start he's made to life under yourself, playing a little bit more of a central role. Do you think that's his best role, potentially, in the side, playing a little bit more centrally? Because he's a deadly finisher. I
just think he's flexible, Brian. You know, he can play different roles across the front.
Yeah.
To be honest, pretty much all the boys across the front, within reason, can play different kind of roles and be fluid and be flexible. I think it's important to enable you to kind of be dangerous and try and create different movements. So, but yeah, scoring. Listen, for Brian, scoring, he's played a big role in terms of his discipline and his responsibility for the team with and without the ball, and he's got his reward. So he's doing great. Yeah, I think that is a big part of what we've seen so far anyway, isn't it? Specifically from the wide players, that sort of discipline, being defensively sound as a unit. Without Patrick Dorgu, obviously we had the news this week that he's picked up a little bit of injury. How do you go into this game adapting? Because it might be a slightly different style of play that isn't so defensively. Yeah, I just think that's the beauty of the squad and individuals. It's a blow to lose part. I think even just to be in and out whether he played, whether he didn't, you know, you never want to lose players, but he was in such a good place. The other side of that is, you know, we can change things around a little bit. Someone else will come in, and that's part of it. And so we're looking forward to how we can adapt to that, really. And that's part of the challenges as you go through a season. You're never going to keep the same team through a season. Yeah. We've had 2 really good games, and I understand why they've been made as big games, and we've had 2 big performances, but it never carries on all the way through. You've always got to find little tweaks here and there. And this week we'll try and do that. Obviously, we've seen you at some of the under-21 games, the 18s as well recently. Are there players in that academy that you think are ready to step up and support when injuries like this happen? Because it's been such a vital component for United throughout history. Yeah, I mean, that's all the work, and effort that the academy staff put in to kind of get the boys through the system. Ultimately, is to try and get them near the first team in the end, and we're fully aware of that. I think it's a huge part of this club. It's not something I do is because I feel I have to do it. I think it's just something that I really enjoy as well, going to see the games and feeling a connection and wanting to see who's doing well and have eyes on the younger players. I think it's really important we do that. And for them, to understand there's opportunities there, and sometimes you're closer than you realise, and it doesn't take too much. And then, we try and get the younger players up and around us as much as possible, training feeling what it's like, learning off the more senior players, and at some point, yeah, you want them to make everyone can't, unfortunately, make the last step, but you want boys to make the last step and to be ready for it.
I mean, we should talk about Kobbie Mainoo while we're on the topic of academy players, because he has broken into that team and he's such a brilliant footballer. We've seen him deployed a little bit deeper at the moment, but lots of Man United fans talking about where he could play, where his future lies. As a midfielder yourself, what do you see as the strongest elements of his game and where his future lies?
I like the way Kobbie takes the ball after. I think there's a big part of being a footballer and being a top player is being able to cope with the environment.
Yeah.
And he come in at such a young age and played some big games in the Euros for England, for finals for Manchester United, and playing a big part in those games. So just being able to cope for first off is a huge thing, and he's proved he can cope. He takes the ball, he drifts, he can play a little bit deeper at times, he can play a little bit higher up depending on who he's playing with, and I think sometimes we can pigeonhole players in certain things quite quickly, and it's not always the case, and sometimes you say things and you see things in a player and you tweak a little bit, a bit like Patrick playing a little bit higher and playing as a high winger, and all of a sudden things open up. That's fine, you see things and you go with it. Kobbie can play different roles within that, but definitely with Cassie in the middle of the last couple of games, they've had a really good pairing, and being a big part of controlling as the team. So he's so young, Kobbie, and he's had some real highs, he's had some disappointments. That's natural. I was similar myself. When you're young and you're coming through, it's no different, and it makes him better, makes him stronger, and makes him more experienced. And he's showing that at the moment, and he's a joy to watch.
Do you think that's one of the benefits of having somebody like Steve Holland, who's worked with him before in that England camp, knows kind of Kobbie's style and how to work with him? Has that made the transition for you a little bit easier?
I was with Kobbie when he was 13, 14 in the academy, coaching him when I started coaching.
Incredible.
So I've had that as a small part, but it's had that relationship. Obviously, Steve knows him particularly well as well, and I was just that's part of the staff and
incredible.
The makeup really is for that, not just for Kobbie but for everyone, and sharing the load and trying to improve all the players. And Kobbie's in a good place at the moment, and we've got to keep pushing him and supporting him and keep improving.
Final question then, Michael. Obviously, we were talking about the supporters earlier and our away end bouncing and buzzing. What are you hoping from Old Trafford this weekend against Fulham? Do you have a little message for the supporters?
Yeah, I don't think they need a message from me. I think it's pretty obvious. It's a special place, and the boys are looking forward to playing at home again. And I think the feeling of the last couple of weeks is great, but definitely understanding what this game's going to bring, and doing the right things. We're going to need them. The support, it might be tougher points in the game where we need them, and to feel that we certainly felt it over the last two games, especially away at Arsenal, and the away fans were unreal. So it can't really difficult to describe how important it is for the boys to feel that, and then we've got to give them something back, and that connection is massive, and we need to create that atmosphere. We need to build it, and there's no place like it when it shows all that coming together.
Michael, love that. Thank you.
Cheers.